The audition. I have always loved music, so it wasn't too much of a surprise when I auditioned for chamber choir at the end of freshman year. It would be a good opportunity to work on more complex pieces, and hopefully I would get the chance to bond with some of the ensemble members. The audition took place in her classroom, at the keyboard in front of the room. It was just my teacher and me. The room was quiet, a rare occurrence considering the group of extroverted music students who were often in there. The room was familiar, and it added to my confidence. When we got to the sections of the songs we had done for the concert, things came undone. There was a piece we had with a note at the very bottom of my range, and during the sectional, I struggled to actually hit the note. I felt a pang of anxiety as I tried to hit it. I've always had a hard time admitting when I'm struggling with something. I had only known the teacher for the year, and although I liked her well enough, I wasn't comfortable admitting that I was struggling. I'm a perfectionist at heart, and saying that something wasn't going well for me made it a little too real. But at the end of the audition, she complimented me. "You clearly know your part. I was playing the piano with you, but you were leading me." I hadn't been aware of how tense I had been until tears started to build up in my eyes. As she spoke, however, I felt the tension leave my body, almost as though she had pulled the singular thread holding me together and allowed me to fall apart. I'd never felt more vulnerable, yet I felt completely safe. There was no hiding from her, but I never really felt like I had to. She suggested I audition for an honors choir to build audition poise, something I'd actually get into a few years later due to her somewhat aggressive encouragement then. A few days later, I had a callback, which required me to sing a song I thought complimented my voice. I chose a song from the musical Dear Evan Hansen. The next Friday, the list of who'd made the choir was supposed to be posted by the end of the day. I spent most of world history staring blankly at the clock, waiting for the bell to ring. The bell rang, and there was still no list. Then, when the list finally got posted, there was the initial swarm of students checking it. I saw it after a minute or so, although it felt, to me, like hours. My name wasn't on the list. I stared at it for a few minutes, trying to see if I had just accidentally skipped over my name. But it wasn't there. I didn't get in. The week following seemed blurred, and soon enough we were nearing the end of the school year. I really wanted to get a voice check, an evaluation of my vocal range, from the teacher by the end of the year. I had been a little anxious going into it, considering everything that had happened. At the end of it, she told me my biggest area for improvement was making sure I wasn't sharp or flat when singing certain notes. Most of my summer was spent sitting cross-legged on my floor, my keyboard and tablet in front of me, trying different techniques that were said to keep a vocalist from going sharp or flat. There were plenty of hours spent just hitting one white key, then the black key next to it, then back to the white key as I tried to match pitch with each individual note. My sophomore year came and went, and soon enough it was time to audition again. The audition process was the same as the time before. Sight reading and then small sections from each piece we did in the concert. Everything that happened after was completely different. That year I didn't have to do a callback, the teacher saying she was pretty confident she knew whether or not I was getting in. It was a strange statement, and as much as I hoped it meant I was getting in, I couldn't help the doubt that swirled around deep in my gut as I thought about her statement. The final list of who got in was supposed to be posted a few days later. The teacher had a prep the same block as my study hall. There was a student who was already in chamber choir there as well, roaming around as he spoke about whatever was on his mind. This wasn't necessarily an uncommon occurrence, and I was only half listening to him as I tried to focus on an English assignment. I was quick to look up when my course teacher emerged from her office, laptop in hand. I knew it was a list, but I didn't dare say anything. She broke the tense silence by giving me the response I so desperately wanted to hear. "You got in, of course." The words lifted a weight off me that I hadn't known I'd been carrying. I felt relief fill me as I sat there, unsure of what to do. After getting turned away from chamber choir freshman year, I pushed myself to practice more and worked even harder. And in the end, my hard work paid off. I learned a lot through the process, but the most important thing I've learned was to keep trying, no matter what setback you come across.